The Light Institute and the Sanctuary of Light welcome each and all of you to this time of knowings and invite you, ask you, to bring forward the conversations of your hearts so that we can extend out through our focus what needs to change or what needs to be amplified so that we can find ourselves in this world, in this changing world. So please, just whatever you would like to question.
How do I know that the time is right for a change I would need to do in my life?
Yes. I think the fact that we wonder if the time is right means the time is right. The part of us that says, if I wait just a little bit longer, wait, is really a part that holds back, that still has a residue of what if? What if I do it wrong? What if it's not the right choice? Ultimately, through the laws of karma, you can't make the wrong choice. Any change that you make will educate your consciousness and allow you to see the cause and effect pattern of it. If you step here or change that or move here, your experience of it will lead you to the next and the next. And so you can't make a mistake. What I would say to the whole world right now is, this is not the time for holding back. This is the time to leap off the precipice. You won't hit the bottom. There is no bottom. Mm-hmm. And so the mind will always say, but what if this and what about that? And so we can't allow that part. We have never honored the power of the heart in its knowing, the part of our higher selves, the inner voice that knows. We stick with the mind aspect of, let's be rational. Well, we need the rational to be more expanded, to include what the emotional body feels, because it feels what's true for it. And so it is time for us to be able to be our true selves so that we can gift the world. But if we do not allow ourselves to listen to what supports us, to what makes us peaceful, harmonic, happy, then we really have very little to give except the chatter in our minds. And so we are at a point, crossroads right now, where it's not, shall I change, whether it's your closet or other aspect of your life, but it's how best shall I do it? No. Right now is the moment, and you cannot help yourself by waiting, because it won't ripen. It's already ripened. And I think this is true. Whenever I found this with relationship, it's a perfect example. When people start wondering, shall I end this relationship? Shall I do this? The moment you start thinking it, it's over. And I've worked with thousands of couples. And the moment that conversation comes up, it's just, how long do you want to take to do it? It's not if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And how many pretexts will you create, or how many dramas will you create that give you the sense of support, I'm justified in doing it. So we don't need justifying in order to change. We need simply the courage of our hearts to know that we all need change on every aspect. And this is where I got the words, the cosmic boot, because I noticed that when you hang around and try to figure it out and see if you can maintain control, eventually the higher self just comes in and gives you a little shove, and you really lose control, and it's not the way you thought it would be. But ultimately, when you look back, you say, oh yes, of course, had to be that way. So it would be great if this time on the planet, all of us who have been through so many incarnations, would actually say, I hear myself, I will do it, I will do it. And know, again, that whatever you do, it might just be the first step in a direction. And you may change direction. But take that first step. And that's what allows the synchronicity to occur. All of the critical mass to begin to move so that it can magnetize itself and support you This is the moment.
Thank you.
What else?
Will you speak to about the bull in the china shop on that same note, and how that happens so often with people when they make a change and then it's like the bull in the china shop?
Throwing out the bathwater, the baby with the bathwater, all of that, making it loud and clumsy and destroying everything as we go. You know, it's really so much easier than we think it is. And that is that if you sit in the moment of your center and you look at your hologram and you want to make a change, allow yourself to imagine all the particles, all the beings, all the infinite vibrations that will change because of your one step, because you thought of it even. And then all you do is you simply extend energy to all that around you. When you do that, it's like blind people. They never bump into anything. They never bump into anything because their vision comes from the whole body skin, not the eyes that only see in front and a little bit to the side. They see with the back of their backs, the back of their neck, for example. We all know that one, that when something important happens, the hair stands up in the back of your neck. So if you say, I'm ready for change, I must change, then just take a deep breath. And what is the frequency of light that all around me needs to be supported through my change, to be helped by my change? Because that's what happens. You're the apex of your pyramid. When you move, when you make a gesture of that spiral of evolution, it ripples out and everything in that pyramid that's connected to you will be moved. Even if they don't know it, at that moment they will be. Because you have unlocked the chain. And so everything goes free and must go into that fluidity, the cosmic flow. And so what you want to do is just, what is the frequency of light that all around me needs to be supported by my change? Draw it in from the cosmos. You don't have to know to whom. You don't have to know what. All you have to know is what's the frequency, what's the speed of light that will most support everyone around you, the china shop. And you draw that in from the cosmos and you just extend it out in every direction. And you'll feel, when you do that, it'll create that clarity of center that just allows you to step forward. It's like the first time that I witnessed a psychic surgeon. I witnessed about 500 operations. And it's so amazing to imagine that something as dense as a hand can slip within and between the molecules of cells. But it can. Because there is nothing that's really solid, except our illusions. Which are as solid as rocks sometimes. We need to throw those boulders off the precipice. And so the moment that you begin to recognize that when you move, everything else moves, and so you offer something to everything else to support it, because inadvertently it will. All those people, all those potentials and possibilities are all like dominoes. They are all like the chain. So when you unhook yourself, the chain dissolves. And that so often is our gift to everyone around us who are holding on for dear life. All of our contracts and vows, our karma, with our friends, with our families, with our lovers, with our children, with our animals. You do that for me, I do this for you. You and I, we two against the world. All of those kinds of contracts, they are broken the moment that you take an independent step. And you must. Because sometimes the rest of the pyramid, not at the apex, doesn't have the sight, doesn't have the openness, it doesn't have the point of reference for change. And it cannot change. It is locked in. It cannot change until the apex opens, until you release it. And so even when sometimes it feels as if, oh, this is painful to someone else, if you remember, ultimately, this is a cosmic gift. But you give the frequency of light to everything around you, whether it's it's land or people or jobs or whatever. As you give out energy, it allows the hologram to expand, to quicken, and to begin to magnetize all circling potentials that haven't come yet into your sphere, that can come in. You have to take the step in order for those things to come in. So often, I'll see a lifetime or a person or a baby or a potential hanging around the aura of somebody. No point in saying anything to them about it. Until they move, nothing can get in. And then they sit there and say, oh, if only I had the lover, the money, the place, the this, the that. And they're what's in the way. They're in the way. Nothing can get in because it's static. You're not moving. So you must move. And if you feel that and you extend the energy out like a rock rippling out in the pond, you will not bump into anything else in the china shop. You will not hurt it. It will move independently as did you, ultimately, once you've given it the impetus. And it will bring about a new composition. Because all evolution is the restructuring. And that's why my higher self says it's very important for us to reinvent ourselves at every moment. To reinvent yourself, you have to move. You can't just sit around and think about it. You have to actually create an energetic ripple that opens the space so that all that have been waiting, all the work your higher self has done to avail you with this potential can actually get into you. And that's what makes life so exciting. That you never imagined that this person would come or that opportunity would come or that your consciousness would become aware of things that you never saw before. And so don't be afraid of the bull in the china shop, but know that you belong to the china shop and you, the bull, must give a gift. Must give a gift. And as you move, the whole structure moves, everything moves and becomes fluid. And that's your gift. We're here to give a gift to the world. We can't do it while we're holding on. Because whenever you're static, the energy dies, the life force dies. It's movement that allows life.
Thank you, Chris.
Be brave. You never know who's begging you to give them the cosmic food. You never know. I find the people that resist the most are the people that are the hungriest for it. You know, some people are saying, don't you change, don't you do this, don't you that. And really, they're begging for it. What else?
Well, on the subject of change,
Yes.
on the global scale,
Yes.
we will be entering into a dynamic very, very much different than what we experience at this time. And my question is basically, geological time frame,
Yes.
even speeded up,
Yes.
takes a little while. And so
Or not.
or not. And I was just kind of wondering if individuals, say, over 50, will see the complete change, or given normal lifespans, mostly the transition. And that the transition itself will not fully manifest until.
I love the
Go
question
further
because
down
it
the
misses a little sliver. And the little sliver is, again, the purpose of the geological change and the reality, the third-dimensional reality that we have come here to participate in.
Mm-hmm.
And that little sliver is that we hold a collective thought form that says over 50, that you cannot grow, that your cells are dying, that you cannot become flexible and juicy and aware. And yet we have templates. We have people in China and various places. We have people in China, men who produce babies at 80. And so the thought form, being over 50, the thought form that once you're there, the chances of you finding that flexibility, it may just be that you need that snapping to come forward. Here's a little trick. All of us have lived infinite lifetimes in many dimensions, in many places. And so we have experienced living beyond 100, renewing the cells, creating miracles, having light bodies, bilocating, fluidity beyond what we recognize now because we're stuck in the mind body. And so this is the reason that we do incarnational work here, is to allow the light body, to allow the consciousness to recognize itself through many transitions, birth and death, birth, death. There may be a lot of people who go in and come right back out. There may be people who are 90 that suddenly trigger, imagine the vibration that comes out of an earthquake. Now, I've been in some 8.6 earthquakes, and the earth howls. The earth howls and growls. And the vibration, the wind, the sounds, the light that come from those kind of shifts, that's energy being released. Oh, we can use it. We just don't understand how to pluck from around us energy that can completely shift us. You have billions of cells that are dying right now, that are in the catabolic stage of breaking down and dying. You have cells that are wobbling around, not knowing what they're supposed to be doing, that can become cancerous, or they can be cleared out, and you have cells being born. And so really, it's where we put our consciousness. When and as we are beginning already to experience geological changes in the geology of the human body, the strata of consciousness and physiology of the human body, etc., 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 we have an opening to points of reference that we have not recognized belong to us. And so we can either focus on the catabolic cycle or the anabolic cycle. We can say, I'm being reborn right now, and goodbye to the rest of you. And you know, energize your water and let that water wash it out. You know, whether it's a thought form that's limiting, or it's stale energy in the blood or in the body, density in the blood, wash it out with water. Wash it out with your consciousness. It really is easy. It's that we have come into an age which we are exiting right now, in which you must prove your purpose. You must prove that something is true in a physical way. We want to see it. And it's interesting to me that humans have become more visual. They don't want to think about it. They want to see it. And so we have to learn to use sight, as I was taught by blind people, in a more holographic way. So we can see cause and effect. We can see what needs to be shifted to allow that rebirth at any moment. The cell remembers when you were born. The cell remembers when the first zygomat was dividing. It remembers everything. And it can track that and pluck it in the same way that if you have an explosion of fire, and a volcano, and the release of energy, any kind of release of energy, you can simply take that frequency and allow it to serve you, be transmuted, and to activate parts of you that are stale or static, or need refreshing. You know, what is a tsunami? It's the trembling of water, changing its form. Well, we are 70% water. So what happens when we use fluidity to change form? We renew ourselves. We renew our consciousness. And so it may be, as in times past, that the old guys come up with the answers. It may be that the babies come up with the answers. So we want to let go of the thought forms that start to create that stratification. Okay, here you are, you're between 50 and 70, that's it. That's your generation. I mean, our whole world's about this is your generation. No, our generation is all generations. Part of us is a child. Part of us is a master. Part of us is blind, you know. And so what we need to do now is to not think about what we wish would be, but to hold as if it were true that potential. It belongs to us. This is it. And as you live that in your consciousness energetically, your body will follow, your mind will follow, and you'll never know that you're above 50. I've noticed that there are a lot of people transiting right now, and it's because, and here's what people never get, they're giving a gift to the rest of us. In the same way, sometimes your dog will pass from its body to serve you, or your horse, or your cat, or your child, or your parent. So people, as they move into octaves of awareness, very often will, consciously or unconsciously, create an act that causes that ripple, that cosmic boot. Because as people translate from one strata to another, as I was saying earlier, everything will move. And that's a gift. The body doesn't mind in the same way we call the rain, and the rain doesn't mind raining, that's its purpose. The body doesn't mind letting go of those cells that are dying because the consciousness does not die. So the body says, oh, thank you, this was getting to be a burden. I don't care for the pain, thank you very much. Let go. And there is that capacity to see the ripple, the legacy be passed down. In the same way that I have often spoken and connected with spirits of young people who have died, who say, I can function much better here than I could in my physical form. Too much pressure, too much resistance in the third dimension, but here in the astral, I'm able to help all these people, I'm doing all this, I am within my destiny. So, let us clear away the old and the young, the strong and the weak. I have noticed many times, sometimes my higher self calls it the tyranny of the weak, that the person you think is weak will have some power. It might be a power to manipulate. It might be a power of magnetism. You never know who somebody is until you come to the crux. And that's what we're doing right now. We're beginning to create ripples which will become waves of those kinds of points of reference that calls upon each point of consciousness to respond to a situation again, whether it's an earthquake or a death or a birth or a political situation, that we cannot any longer function through automatic pilot. So you want to let go of that, and I think sometimes that's attached to, I wrote about in one of my books, one of the aspects of an increase in Alzheimer's was that the old are never asked their opinion anymore. We don't have the patience to listen to their story. They take too long to tell their story. And so they drift into some other world. Nobody's listening anyway. So their mind goes into a different kind of reality. When we say over 50, we begin to define those things. Nobody wants me sexually, and nobody wants me intellectually, nobody wants me, and we keep doing that. No one wants me for a job. You know, if you're 50 or heaven forbid, you might be in your late 60s, who's going to hire you? Why? Because the world says, well, why bother to train this person? I'm only going to get 4 more years out of them. You see, so collectively, we need to release those things because we don't know where the gift, the solution will come. So, it may not be the 50-year-olds. Plus, I have noted many people who should have died way back when because there's nothing in their bodies that's functioning. And those buggers, they will live to be 90 and let everybody else die. People say, well, my grandfather smoked and drank and whatever, and he was probably so crotchety that very grumpiness wouldn't allow him to let go and die. So again, we want to see what are these energies and how we can use them, and not what the story the other guys are telling. Being almost 70 herself. What else?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm going through, I took that leap, I jumped, I'm going through all these changes and left a long relationship, and I feel very much out of balance at the moment. I'm spinning around and floating around and my emotions are all over.
Yes.
And I'm usually very calm and balanced, and I came here today, after talking to my friend, because I feel I need healing and some peacefulness to me.
Yes.
And so you mentioned a gift. I have to give a gift.
Yes. Well, let's backtrack a little bit, and let me comfort you by saying, oh, how wonderful that you're out of balance. Because if you're not out of balance, you're not going anywhere. So a little bit of out of homeostasis is great. When you've been in a long-term relationship, that person is inside you. The pulse of eating, of sleeping, of breathing, of what we do now, of what we're allowed to think, who we are, is intertwined. Your auras are intertwined. It takes a long time, actually, to clear somebody's auric field from your auric field. While their auric field's inside you, there will always be that yes, no, yes, to, no kind of conversation, not cleared up. So you do want to extend a gift to that person. And we can do this little exercise right now. Now, we'll do one half of the exercise, which is you giving back to the person that you have left. When you do it at home, let that person give a gift to you as well. So they have some sense of power. And again, this is the dance, You're intertwined, you're connected here. When you let go, he has to let go, or whoever that is. And so if you give to them, it allows them to be whole. And that's what it takes to go to the next octave. So that's all right. But there are many, I would recommend to you that you come and do a consultation with Gwen or somebody at the Light Institute. They take an hour to really clear that person, to really look at what are the qualities that they have that have been useful to you, what are the things that drove you crazy. Being able to release and rebalance with them will help to set you free, because sometimes we've been with someone so long that we have long since lost that ability to say, what do I want? What can I have? They're gone, but we're still going, I can't really do that. As if that would displease somebody. I've said forever, land of the brave and the free, we haven't a clue what it means to be free here. And even if you've separated from somebody, you don't get rid of them unless spiritually you get rid of them. And this is one of the ways that you do it. The reason that we use gift giving and we take it from the cosmos rather than from the self is that becomes the language of the cosmos, of the soul, which is what brought you together in the first place. Usually some unresolved issue in another lifetime, which you were playing out, have been playing out, until finally somebody says, that's it, I'm done, I paid you back, or I can't take it anymore and I'm out. So to be out, to be really free, we have to bring that all the way around the circle, so that even if they were the perpetrator of violence or negativity, you give to them, then you are free. And you'll feel that kind of freedom, because you gave them something from a spiritual octave, and you gave them what they asked for, not what you chose. And that's why we ask a symbol or an object or a color that they choose, that they need to receive from you in order to to really let you go and to be free themselves. And when we begin to psychically, through this higher potential of consciousness, communicate with people, they receive those energies. I'm doing a new book called Brain Potential, or The Potential Brain. And I'm going back over a book that I read in the 60s. It was called Psychic Discoveries Behind the Iron Curtain. Because Russia in 1960 began to try to figure out how to manipulate psychic capacity. And all of their scientific studies, I was smiling to myself today, ho-hum, you know, that's what we do all the time. When you envision, what they did is they'd have a sender envision pictures. And then the other guy, who was way far away, would sit and meditate and try to get what was that picture, what was it? And of course they could always do it. Well, when you send, because they asked for it, so it's not you sending it, it's going all the way around the circle. It comes from the cosmos, circles through you and to them, and frees them. So it creates this pulse of evolutionary spiral. And they get it. They receive it. And you'll feel that. You'll feel that. I'm done, I'm free now. So let's do that, because I think everyone in the world needs to have that kind of connection to themselves and to others, whether releasing someone or attracting someone. It's the same process. So what we're going to do is to allow the inner voice, the higher self, the intuitive essence of the soul, to choose the person for you right now, except for you. Because it might be someone you never even think about. It might be someone who's already passed from their body. It might be someone who's really holding you up. You're not moving ahead because you think you owe them something. So close your eyes, take a deep breath into your body, and simply ask your higher self to show you a person with whom you can practice this exercise right now. You might see them or hear their voice, or hear their name, or feel their essence. It doesn't matter. Just get who it is. Might surprise you. Could be a group of people. Very surprising. Okay. Once you know who it is, bring them into your mind's eye, so as if you had them standing in front of you. And you might just extend your consciousness, take a look at them. Are they sad? Are they angry? Are they confused? Just take a look at their emotional state. You think it has to do with you, but it doesn't. You're a pawn in their movie, and the same way they are a pawn in your movie. Now, take a deep breath and ask them what gift they need to receive from you at this moment, so that each can be free and begin a new octave of your lives. It could be a symbol or an object or a color. Again, you might see the thing or hear what it is or feel it. What is it that they're asking for from you? Whatever comes into your consciousness, the first flash that comes in, imagine that you're pulling that from the cosmos, no matter what it is, a symbol, an object, or a color, down to the top of your head, down into your stomach, to your solar plexus, and from there extend that gift to them. And let them take it into their body and watch and see what happens. Perhaps they'll get large, or they'll smile. They'll change their energies. They might even change their form. So just feel that gift flowing through you, extending to them, until you feel the shift. That they change because they've received this gift from you. And once they have, just take a deep breath. Open your eyes and just feel yourself disconnected. from that past point of reference. Yeah. What was the gift that that person asked from you?
Love.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. When somebody asks for something, maybe it's love or compassion or forgiveness or whatever it is, you want to allow that to change into a symbol or an object or a color so that energetically, not mentally, but energetically they can take it in. That makes it stronger. It's fine if you are sending love. But you see, you might have loved them as a friend or a child, and they might have loved you as a mother or a lover. So love is a very tricky conversation. And so you want them to be specific, and as we go on now, you could just kind of revise that in your head and ask, okay, what represents that kind of love for you? You don't even have to know whether it's love as a friend or love as a mother or love as a lover that they're asking for, but just see whatever that symbol or object or color is, and again, draw it in so it doesn't come from you, it comes from the cosmos, which is where the two of you connected, and extend it to them.
I saw it as a symbol of a heart and a red,
Oh,
you
good.
know, a red
Perfect.
heart.
Yeah.
So
Perfect. That's exactly it. And so, we often think, well, I'm divorcing you or I'm getting rid of you and I don't want to be your lover anymore. But when we take it from the cosmos, it's infinite. And that point of reference, at some point in your relationship, you had that love for them, that heart, that red heart. And so that vibration outside of time, but simply in the reality of it, comes again. Comes again because the cosmos set it up for you to love in that way. Because of your relationship, your history, your story with that person. And so even when we're angry at someone and we feel as if you did it to me, I can't love you, if we take it from the cosmos, we find that we can send that red heart. We can just send it until they, again, change and dissolve. So fantastic. Thank you for bringing that up. And be at peace with yourself. And allow your energy, your emotional body to begin to kind of like, who am I now? What I said about them in your auric field, that's another thing that you can do. You can imagine that you have this electromagnetic energy moving out from you and ask, show me where that person is still in that field. You might see little black spots all over it, or a big hole over here. And again, what color do I need to brush and smooth my auric field so I'm the only one in it? Because we don't really want anybody else in our auric field. And just feel that, brushing it with that color, extending it out so it extends out again. And you'll begin to feel, peaceful. And you will be able to put your consciousness on, what do I want now? So often when we separate from someone, it's, how will I make it? How will I survive? All those things instead of, now what? Now what's there for me? It's my turn. And it's all right for us to do that. What else?
My son is going to be 14 in 2 weeks, and so he's a teenager.
Yeah. Hello, Mama.
He's really upset about me all the time because somehow he can't find his values in me. And he tells me all the time, and he.
How does he tell you that? How does he express
He
it?
comes to the same expressions. It's kind of the same conversation going on for a long time.
How does he say it?
Like, oh, now that I have to say it, why isn't it exactly how he says it? Something about, all you say is, you need to just breathe, or all your spiritual stuff, and, he thinks, he has a judgment on me that I'm...
What he's really saying to you is, I can't be you. And what happens when we get to be 14 and the hormones are coming up is that he's trying to figure out how he can be with you and not be you. because he has to create a separation. He's a young man, therefore he's sexually available to you. Your own sexual energy might frighten him. And so there are many, many points of reference that are hidden between parent and child when that time occurs. So what I would say is, don't say anything to him anymore about breathing, but every day ask him where he holds the wisdom of his soul. And let that move through him, because he's in that conflict. He needs to be physical now. He wants to be sexual. He wants to be physical. He wants to move. He wants to be in his body. And he doesn't want to be conflicted about if his mother kisses him or his mother hugs him, or whether he should, or whether he could have a girlfriend, or all of that goes on as we take that point of reference of separating out. And so you always have to listen to what's he really saying to you. He's trying to create a separation. And so what you don't want to do is to feel it as if he's judging you, even if he is. Because, get ready, teenagers will judge you up the hilt. There will be nothing, whether it's the bread you cook or the whatever, the clothes you buy them, whatever it is, they will be judging you. And it's a point of initiation for ourselves. We don't have to be only the mother of our children. We do not need their approval. And so as teenagers come in and try to find themselves, adults, parents, have to reinvent who they are. You don't need him to approve you. You don't need him to understand you. And I've hardly ever worked with a young person or even an old person who had a clue what their parents were like. They don't get that. You are just his mother and all the limitation that creates for him. He wants to have your approval, but he doesn't want to be you. He wants to be sexual, and that may not be okay spiritually. So there's a lot of cross communication that goes there. What you want to do is laugh when he says that, and free yourself from his judgment of you, because your concern and your pain about his denying you or judging you or separating out from you didn't start with him. It started with your parents. It started with your culture. It started 1,000 lovers that you've had. It started 1,000 girlfriends that you've had, etc., etc., etc. It started with your choosing to come in as a human animal. So you don't want to waste your energy being hurt by him, because at 22 he'll turn around and go, "Mom, you're the greatest." At 35 he'll turn around and say, "Wow, all that you taught me, I get it now." And why will you have wasted all these years beating your breast because he's telling you terrible things? Don't listen to his terrible things. Be who you are. And extend out to him. You send him color. You send him breath. Extend out so that he knows that you're there, no matter what he's going through or what he's afraid of right now. And the best thing would be if parents and their teenagers could actually talk to each other about it. You know, nobody talks about the sexual conversation. He was there when you made love and produced him. He knows who you are sexually. He was your lover. He might have been your wife, your child in other lifetimes. There's infinite possibilities there, and they always come up. And so, since we're not looking at those, unless you clear him, I always recommend doing sessions in which you're actually looking at lifetimes that you've had with him. But meanwhile, what you want to do is to untangle yourself. You could just sit every night and say, who has judged me that has caused me pain? And then, what color do you need from me to be released? Because if they're judging you, they're judging themselves. Nobody ever sees the other guy. We only see ourselves in the mirror of the other guy. So what you want to do is to get rid of right now all the pain that you have received from all the people in this lifetime, and heaven knows that's rippling off into other lifetimes, who have hurt your feelings because you felt judged by them. And by the way, you want to look and ask your higher self, show me anyone I have judged, that I have refused to love or respect or allowed to be themselves. And again, color do you need from me to be released from that? So that you can be free. Because you have multiple children, I have multiple children, and I can tell you, you don't want to get into that pattern because you're going to do it again and again and again unless you get it. Unless you free them from using you as being the whipping boy, you know. And they won't if you get the giggle of it, if you get the humor, that he's just working it out himself. And sometimes it wouldn't matter whether you ever said anything to him about it. You represent something to him, and he's beating on it because he's trying to find himself. So be gentle and be humorous. Now, one of the things that especially my sons taught me is that you have to find a way to be funny about it. Because if you try to be, this is what is correct, you're likely to get it back in spades. And so find the humor in yourself and don't give them that much power, because they will grow up and they will go on and they will not be in your nest. Imagine. 14, it's probably less than 6 years. It's nothing. It's not even a flicker in time. So let your heart be free. Let your heart be free. What else? Yes.
When I had the image of my late husband,
Yes.
and first it was my mind, you know, hearing him, please don't judge me.
Uh-huh.
But then I heard him more clear,
Mm-hmm.
asking for a golden ball,
Mm-hmm.
and really bright color golden boy. No, boy,
Oh.
ball. And, but you know, in the middle of it, you know, he said, oh, now let's change. Now I want the sun. And so I gave him the sun because he needed the warmth of the sunshine.
Yes. Perfect.
So,
And that's how it is, and that's an example of what I'm saying, that they pick that up, and of course if they pass from their body, they pick it up instantly.
yeah.
I've recently been having a conversation with someone who's about to pass from their body, and it doesn't take 2 seconds for them to just have that conversation. They're not
Yeah.
distracted by anything else.
Yeah.
Not distracted by life, you know. So again, the golden ball and the sun were similar. All those energies. It's that fast. Okay, I've got that. Now this, now this,
Yeah.
now this.
Yeah.
And each time, each symbol, like you're talking about the warmth of the sun, is accessing some place inside where there was a cicatriz, no me acuerdo cómo se llama, cicatriz, a scar, a sore, a scratch, you know, that needs to be healed. And because you ask it and you give it to him, it's that fast that it changes. So that's beautiful. Thank you for showing us that.
Thank you, but you know, I got mixed up and kind of, I was judging him again, like, well, make up your mind.
So, when I say that, I love it. When I say that, it's just an example of what we were just talking about over here.
Yeah.
You know, when you're done giving him his stuff, where am I holding that? Make up your mind. And from whom did I inherit? Psychogenetics.
Yeah.
From whom did I inherit that imprint? Make up your mind, choose one thing.
Yeah.
Instead of choose it all.
Yeah.
Choose it all.
Of course.
We don't have to go literally, you know, we can get 1,000 things coming in all at once and bring them all in, you know. So it's a great opportunity, and this is the beauty of every time we communicate with others, and on a soul level, on a spiritual level, we learn about ourselves. Because the moment you caught yourself, which takes a lot of consciousness to catch that, the moment you caught yourself going, well, make up your mind, you were seeing something that you're ready to release. You wouldn't see it if you weren't ready to release it.
Yeah.
You would just defend it.
Yeah.
This guy can't make up his mind. But instead, make up your mind. You saw immediately that it was about you.
Yeah.
And so what a gift. And then again, you can see from whom did you inherit that, and send frequencies of light to them and release that from you. Because you don't have to carry it anymore. You don't have to be the one that has to choose right now and can only choose one thing, or the classical human thing. It's either this or it's that, but you can't have it all. Oh yes, you can. Yes, you can. Witness the Cheshire Cat over here. Yes.
Thank you.
What else?
A little while ago, a few weeks ago, you and I and Elias, two facilitator, were in Baja seeing the whales. And we were camping out and doing the whole thing while we were there. And in the middle of the night, this voice came into the tent. It was talking, I knew it was talking to you, and it was talking in a geometric language. It's the best way I know how to describe it. And, it woke me up. It was loud enough to wake me up, and I heard it. And I just thought, oh, well, that's just Chris having a conversation, so I didn't, I wasn't worried about it. I just went back to bed. But or to sleep, could you please, and it felt like it was, speaking of change and limitation and all that, it felt like it was a language that was unlocking the limitation of the human vocabulary. I mean, it was kind of like the whale consciousness. Would you please talk about what that was and what you were doing and what was going on?
I'll never tell.
Didn't figure you would, thought I'd ask them.
But I'll start by saying the fact that you became aware of it probably means that you have a point of reference to it. Some other incarnation, some other level of consciousness, you have some awareness of geometric conversations. And certainly geometry is a cosmic language. Points of reference, the flow of energy, intersecting lines of energy, definitely freeing us from the constriction of a word. Or actually, within that geometric language, you could take any word, let's take love, and cause it to actually change forms. It might be octagonal, or then become a pyramidal, or then become a square, or circle around, and then ripple out in concentric circles. And so it does open up the constriction of what we have limited ourselves in terms of expression. And again, yes, those conversations are going on with cosmic beings that are not entrapped but allow the interfacing in the same way that I always talk about how one universe interfaces. It enfolds with another one. It folds in and the other one folds out and the other one goes off. There's this enfolding of the edges of all that we think of as the end. There is no such thing as the end. And so geometric language is simply like that. So the ripple of human conversation comes out and then enfolds into something that allows it to become dynamic. Because whenever you have two energies interfacing, this is the beauty of geometric energies, when they interface like that, it's not two parallels never connecting. We know that even if we're both speaking our mother tongue, that typically we get about 40% of what the other guy's saying. Never mind if we're speaking a second language. And so, but with geometry, there's no parallel conversation going on. They're going to come directly into each other, and at each of those points of reference, and that's why we've always said that corners or any kind of point like that holds, for example, mother, father, child, the triad of vibrations will enforce growth, evolution. And so I was just out there with my friends.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, that's about it. So we're coming to the end. Is there any last point of reference that we would like to have today? I guess one of the things that I want to say, then, in terms of this small circle and the bigger circles, the hologram, all the parts and people and places within, is to reiterate what I was saying, is that we need the laughter. We need a sense of self that is not static. We don't need to say, who am I? We can say, here's my reality, here's my truth, this is my vibration at this moment. What do I want to mix in there? Always be with what it is that pleases you, what it is that expands you, what it is that's true for you. It will all change in a second anyway. And so what we want to do right now is to be as fluid as possible. And remember that that fluidity comes from a point of reference. There is a purpose in the river flowing, there is a source, and we are that source. And as we recognize that, then we can let go. We can let go into the changes. We can feel that instead of ourselves being pushed along in a river, that we are the flow ourselves, that we choose it. You know, we choose it. Choose it, and then take that kind of responsibility and say, I chose it, and now I'm going to choose something else, rather than beating yourself up of, well, I shouldn't have done that. No, you should have. Because now you have awareness that you don't like that one, so pick the next. You know? And that's what time it is on the planet. And so whatever it is that will give you a little laughter, a little giggle, even if you have to do a little list to yourself tonight, do it. And as you do it, you will bring to yourself the great vibration of the cosmos, which is in fact our source. And right now at this moment, we have a sky that's really offering that. If you look up, you will see that there's really an incredible life force coming from all the stars that are out there, all the planets that are out there. And they're saying, take us, use us. And if we do, then we will be able to go beyond the limitation of this many years or that much or the other person. So my great love and support to you all.
Thank you.